Alright guys, how you doing? Chicken and dumplings time, my friends. It's winter. We're going to start with, I'm using chicken thighs because it's dark meat and some homemade chicken broth. But you can use this, but I have this. A friend of mine, Olive, gave me that. And absolutely, it was absolutely awesome, I can tell you. So we're going to start with a little extra virgin olive oil, as always, into my Dutch oven there. And put the chicken in there to brown it up. You're going to see some little pieces of chicken. See those little pieces right there? That's because I started to cut it while it was still raw, and that's really hard to do, so I decided to cook it first. And see that little piece of plastic up there in the pan? Well, I'm going to figure that out in a second, and I'll pull that out, because we don't want the plastic in our chicken and dumplings. That would suck. So we're just going to smooth them around on the pan a little bit there. I think I threw a little salt, but yeah, a little salt. And all we're doing is going to brown them up. They're a lot easier to cut up into little pieces. A little pepper. Once they're cooked up, trust me, you can get all that fat out of there too. But you can render the fat; it gives you a nice little flavor. And we're just going to brown that up a little bit. Throw the cover on there. I think I went about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I don't know. And there you go. We don't want to overcook it. We don't want it. We don't want hard little bits, do we? So flip it over. I don't think I added any more seasoning at this point. Just threw a cover on it and let that puppy cook away. And this is what we get. Cooked chicken and olive oil with salt and pepper. I turned on the stove a little bit there. And we'll take it out and see, it's kind of falling apart by itself at this point. Much easier to cut up than when I was trying to do when it was raw. I don't know why I did it that way. I never do. And I never put plastic in here either, but I did that too, didn't I? At least I got it out of there. Okay, this is a chopped onion. Or actually a diced onion. I just took a half a yellow onion, diced it up, and we're going to cook this down a little bit. You actually don't even have to cook this down at this point, but because it's going to boil away anyway. But I did, and I also added some celery. Look at that! I had one pathetic little stalk of celery. It wasn't rotten, it was still hard, but it was just all by himself in there, so I just chopped them up and threw them in here. So we're going to call that optional, because if you don't have a sickly little stick of miniature celery hanging around, you don't need to put it in there. I'm going to add more pepper. I put lots of pepper in this, and you would never know the finished product. I mean, you can taste the pepper, but I mean, it's not like it's overpowering or anything. And this is a half a stick of butter. I know it looks like a little bit more than that, but it's just the way I cut it up. That's just a half a stick, and we're going to melt that down. And what we're doing is making a roux. So we're going to melt that down and black out for a second, I guess. And this is, what is this? About 1/4 cup of flour. I had to write it down because I'm so bad with what I do. I eyeball everything usually. And I have to measure when I do videos for you guys. So that's like 6 tablespoons or 1/4 cup or somewhere in that neighborhood. And there's our basic roux there. There is Olive's pint of homemade chicken stock. That was absolutely awesome. You can put up to 1.5 pints if you want. That's a can of carrots. I was too lazy to peel and slice carrots, and it's not a big deal in my world. If you want to, if you have 1 or 2 sickly little carrots hanging around with your celery, you don't want to leave them in there by themselves, do you? And a can of peas, of course, you could use frozen. If I had frozen in the house, I would have. I didn't, so I didn't. And you can see this puppy's coming together pretty nicely. And I'll tell you, sometimes I look at this stuff and I'm just like, I could eat it just like that. I mean, I'm not done. It's better when I'm finished. All right, see, there's the chicken. And I got rid of all the fat, and I kind of chopped it up a little bit. You really just tear it apart once it's room temperature. I didn't get real crazy with a knife and a fork or anything. I pretty much just manhandled that stuff. And there is our basic. We're almost done with the basic chicken part of the chicken and dumplings. What else did I do to this? I had to wait until it comes on the video. Oh, I see. I'm getting the cup. So, all right. This is a half a cup of heavy cream or heavy whipping cream or whatever you want to call it. And it's almost like you're making a base for a chicken pie. A chicken pot pie, It's more liquidy than that, but it's in that neighborhood. And that's the basis of this, except we're going to throw a little extra seasoning in there. I think I used thyme. Am I going to use thyme? Yeah, I used thyme this time. You can use thyme. I think I actually used too much. It's about a half a tablespoon. It was good. It was really good, but I'm not always in the mood for all that kind of thyme. So you could use basil instead of thyme. You could use parsley just to give it some pretty colors. I threw a couple of bay leaves in there because they were small. Those are optional also. But with the thyme and the bay leaf, this made this very traditional winter hearty meal. If you're not a fan of thyme, because thyme doesn't wait for any man. Use basil, use parsley. Don't use anything. I don't care. I mean, it's not that important. All right, now to the dumplings. 2 cups of flour. I'm using, of course, King Arthur's excellent flour, which is 3 times more expensive than the no-name brand you can buy in the store, which you could also use. That's not a problem. And a tablespoon of baking powder. It's not powder with a T. It's powder with a D. And of course, we're gonna salt and pepper this. That's about a half tablespoon of salt. I always use kosher salt. You can use regular salt in this one because the smaller the better. Fresh ground black pepper. And we'll schmooze that up a little bit. Doesn't have to be crazy incorporated, but it'll be nice if you can get that fairly well incorporated. And then we're going to use 1 1/3 of a cup of that cream, because you could use milk, but you only used a half a cup of the cream. And what are you going to do with it? Used a half a cup in the chicken part. Let's keep all this consistent. You could use milk if you don't have cream. You could have done milk in the chicken too. The cream has a nice flavor to it, a nice consistency to it. I like it better with cream. You can use milk. You could use 1% milk. You can use almond milk. And let's not get crazy. Your kitchen, man. You fly the way you want to fly. I used heavy cream. And we're going to mix that up. We mixed it with the fork a little bit, and then just use your hands because that's what you got to do sometimes. And we're going to make our little balls. I'm going to use a little ice cream scoop thing there. Or you could just dig into it. But we're just going to make little golf ball size dough ball dumpling things. And we're going to call them dumplings. And there's a little subscribe arrow was there for a second. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. A lot of new subscribers this weekend. I don't know why, but cool. This is how I learned how to juggle. You start with the 1 dumpling, and you work your way up to 17 dumplings. Actually, I don't even know how many is here. What's that? 12? 13? I don't know. But that's about the size we're looking for, and that's the consistency we're looking for. So we've actually found everything we're looking for in these dumplings. So let's go back over and check on our chicken. I took the bay leaves out. I didn't show you me picking them out because that was no fun. But I got them out, so I just showed you me taking them out. And we're going to drop our little dumpling balls in there. And, don't put them on top of each other. Don't overcrowd anything. Like they always say in all these videos. Kind of space them out. That's going to thicken up the chicken too, along with that roux. And I'm going to put a little crushed red pepper on top of my dumplings. Let me tell you why. I'm married to a woman named Sue. There you go. Crushed red pepper on top of our dumplings, of course. And I'm going to cover that up, and we're going to let that go about 15 minutes. And then we're going to come back to it. And I like black pepper because I am me. So I put a little bit more black pepper on there. And I really wanted to check them after 15 minutes anyway, so a little black pepper on top. I like black pepper in this dish, man. I don't know why. But another 5 minutes, so it's 20 minutes total cooking time. And as they say where I come from, voila! You have scored chicken and dumplings. It was very easy to do. And man, this is awesome. This is an incredibly good meal, especially on a cold winter day. I mean, I live in Florida, so it doesn't, you don't get a lot of them. But the ones you get, make it worthwhile if you have chicken and dumplings. That's such a load of crap what I just said, but all right, listen, this is a really good meal. That part's not baloney. And there you go. And of course, I serve it with a full salad. But look at this. See, it's nice and thick. And look at that dumpling. That dumpling is cooked perfectly, if I say so myself. That is delicious. It's not hard. It's not too soft. It's not undercooked in the middle. Absolutely delicious meal. You guys are going to love this. And as always, thanks for coming by. You guys rock. Hi guys, just want to say a quick thank you for watching the videos. Please subscribe, like, and share if you enjoyed them. And please come back for the next one.